Oh, no.
But I knew our guys were on it. They were on it. And
Yeah, it was like in the afternoon, right? Just like 1 o'clock in the afternoon.
I was, Grace had a theater camp in Ashland. So I dropped her off. And my 11-year-old son was a rock star then, and so was our fire crew. And yeah, even I don't have to move to Ashland tomorrow. Because there's no houses in Washburn.
Okay, are we ready?
Recording in progress.
That's what we were looking for. All right. Probably need to do this. All right, thank you for your patience. We're going to call to order the August 11th City Council meeting. Can I have a roll call, please?
Darren Miller,
Here.
Eric Sarine,
Here.
Jen Mazias,
Here.
Doug Emmett,
Here.
Dave Anderson. Here. Don Benson.
Here.
Jerry Trumbo.
Here.
All present, the quorum is met.
All right, I'm going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, we have the approval of the minutes from the City Council meeting on July 14th, 2025.
Move.
Any questions, edits, discussion? I hear any, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Approval of the monthly expenditures via roll call vote. When you're ready, Tony?
I'll make the
I'll make the motion that we approve.
I'll second the motion.
All right, roll call?
Jerry Trumbo,
Yes.
Don Benson,
Yes.
Dave Anderson. Yes. Doug Emmett,
Yes.
Jen Mazias,
Yes.
Eric Sarine,
Yes.
Darren Miller.
Yes.
Okay. Next we have public comment. So if we have anyone for public comment, you can speak, step up to the podium and you can write your address and your name in the little book there. And then we ask everyone to keep it to 3 minutes from, for public comment. And I'm gonna do a Mary mode. I'm gonna put it on my phone so it's gonna be a ringer. In case people get long-winded, not saying that any of you would do that. So, so go ahead.
Okay, my name is Susan Mackert. I live at 500 Woodland Drive, but Kofi Day is the curator of our local museum. You often, as city council people, have to deal with alcohol permits, and I came across something just to put it in historic perspective. The town of Washburn was established in 1884, and there were 2 supervisors elected at that time, and one of them was John Jacobs. And he wrote about what happened next, which was one of the first things they had to do were saloon licenses. And there were 8 saloons in Washburn at the time. And the saloon keepers were expecting to spend $100 for a license that spring. The other supervisors thought $500 would be more appropriate. Jacobs didn't know which way to go, and so he consulted with Mr. Vaughn in Ashland, who explained, well, it's a new town. You're going to have a lot of expenses. Go with $500. So he went with $500. And I was cursed, abused, and browbeaten in every manner and advised to resign and get out of town after the vote was announced. I never uttered a word in my defense. And at last the tumult died down and I came out with a whole skin. The $500 license proved to be a godsend for the town that year, as it put us in a cash basis. We graded a lot of roads through the town and built many good wooden sidewalks. The people who abused me through the strongest that spring were afterwards my best friends. So I'd like to point out that $500 dollars, by the way, would be about more than $16,000 today. So, just putting things in perspective.
Thank you. Always interesting. Anyone else for public comment?
Yeah, hi, everyone. My name is Roth Edwards, and I live at 221 West 6th Street, Washburn, Wisconsin. And I want to, I think sometimes in order for us to move forward, perhaps it's necessary to first go backwards. So I've noticed over the last 2.5 years or so that there's been a fair amount of anger and even acrimony surrounding an ordinance that was written on December 18, 2022. And so I think it's safe to say that perhaps nobody has more keenly experienced that anger and acrimony than myself. And I want to add to that, by the way, that I have not experienced it from anybody in front of me, anybody behind me, or the general public. However, it has very much been there, and even denied perhaps among some folks working right alongside me. So, you know, I don't offer these words to further divide. I wish to do the opposite. But I think, you know, what I really want to do with my remaining 2 minutes, if I can fit this speech in, this is the story of the foundation, the start of the Washburn Walking Trail. And it's by former Washburn Mayor Edith Merrill. And it's called The People's Path, an account of the creation of the Washburn Lakefront Walking Trail. You got me thinking about how that path came to be. I think it's an interesting piece of the city's history. In 1976, I was elected mayor. The 6-member city council was an outstanding group. There were lots of differing opinions, but they were always expressed respectfully. And the council had a genuine respect for the citizens. One of the first things the council and I did after the election was to conduct an all-day, quote-unquote, town hall meeting. Public attendance was great, and everyone participated. Small groups got together to come up with ideas. What would they like to see happen in Washburn in the next couple of years? Then toward the end of the day, everybody got together to prioritize the ideas of the small groups that they had generated. Building a trail along the lakeshore was a very high priority, if not the top priority. Unfortunately, city finances were challenging, to say the least. There was no money to build a trail, even though the public very clearly wanted it. So citizens stepped forward and volunteered to work on building the trail. The city got a planning grant from the State Coastal Management Program to lay out the trail. Many volunteers of all ages and abilities took the plan and started building. The Army National Guard from Ashland provided heavy equipment and operators to rough out the trail, which the volunteers then built into a beautiful lakeshore path. I remember lots of work being done by Boy Scouts in Washburn. I know they have pride, always have had pride in that path. It has been rebuilt and upgraded over the years. The original path did not have bridges due to lack of funding to build them. Now there are bridges, a significant upgrade. But I still think that
Have to
path.
start wrapping up, that was your 3 minutes.
Okay, yeah. Okay, let me wrap it up then. So that's the origin. I want to share one more sentence if I could. And that is the original words of the ordinance. And I think I want to share these because in hearing these words, you'll see that this vision is not of an individual. I think you can hear the voice of the community in these words that got behind this ordinance. And after that, again, I think we could go back to the starting point, which was these 51 words. Whether any development proposal affecting the some 16 acres of city-owned Lake Superior frontage bounded by 6th Avenue West and Holman Lakeview Drive and extending to the east edge of the ravine at the foot of Washington Avenue should go to a direct vote of the people of Washburn. So there you have the core and the crux of the ordinance.
Thank you.
And so I just ask you for your consideration. I think now is the time, if you would want to extend it, that we can start talking about it rather than waiting for April 2026. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Hi, I'm Lena Steckard. I live at 839 West Bayfield Street. I'm here to talk about the proposed amendment on the non-motorized vehicle permit.
Can I just get you to,
Oh, sorry.
yeah, just talk in your microphone a little bit.
Sorry.
I think you can pull it down a little bit if you need to too.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Or you go to the tippy toes.
Yeah.
Go
I
ahead.
know I'm short. So, I came in Friday to get my permit renewed, with the payment, and I was told to bring it back Monday. Well, the office is closed, obviously, you probably know that, and so I brought it tonight, hoping that because I was here Friday, that because of the amendments you're considering tonight, wouldn't apply to the renewal, because the reason is I'm concerned that the renewal was a direct effect of me coming in and trying to renew it. Or the amendment, I mean, is direct affected. So, I'm just formally requesting that my application be processed before any of the amendments are passed.
Okay, so public comment, we don't have like back and forth. It'd be-
Right, I know.
So, like, you
Okay.
stated that?
Yeah.
Yep.
And it's about fairness and following the law as it stands today before the amendments are passed. It would be passed through with the existing ordinance. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other public comment?
Just a moment. Can I have one moment? Ready?
You can come up and speak, and you have to just write your name and address into that book, and then you can speak at the podium. Yep. You're more than welcome to. Everyone's welcome. That's what public comment's about. You have 3 minutes to speak your piece.
My name is Tom Hanson Jr. I'm here to speak on behalf of Lena Steckard. I'm not sure what she did or didn't cover in her address to you guys, but I just wanted to say that I've been working with her for some time now, a few months this summer. She's a really good and fair, honest business owner, and I don't think that there's anything in the rules that should really prevent her, from operating her business legally in this town. I know that she's had some issues with some of the civil authorities here. I'm not really up to date on what exactly is going on, but I just wanted to say something on her behalf. I think that, she definitely deserves to have the permit. She's one of the more honest, outfits here in the area. And we really try hard to honor all of the city ordinances. We try to, stay clean. We don't get in people's way. We try to practice our business as fairly as possible. And I'm not sure exactly, like I said, what she covered and what she didn't, but I do know that there has been some directed stuff towards her, or at least towards our business. I just wanted to speak on her behalf. I'm not sure exactly what else to say.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Any other public comment? Okay, so I'm gonna step back and, we forgot number one, which is, the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. That's what we were supposed to have first. So I'm told I could go back and do that.
Yes, I would say, to have a motion to, the proper procedure here is a motion to suspend the current city council meeting pending commencement of the Historic Preservation Committee meeting.
So, second,
Hold on, so,
what he said.
Motion by Doug, second by Jared, to suspend the city council meeting temporarily to go into the Historic Preservation Commission meeting.
Let's circle back.
Yeah, I just jumped right into the city council meeting. My apologies.
Forget it.
and do you have to take a vote on the suspension?
Yes.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Sorry. All right, so we have one topic here, discussion and action on
First, we
the,
should call to order the meeting of the Historic Preservation Committee,
okay,
the commission.
so we're gonna call to order the Historic Preservation Commission meeting. Do I have to have a roll call vote for
Yes.
that? All right, roll call vote. Or first, do I need
Or it'd be a roll call of those in attendance to make sure we have a quorum.
Okay.
Yes.
Darren Miller,
Here.
Eric Sarine,
Here.
Jen Mazias,
Here,
Doug Emmett,
Present.
Dave Anderson. Here. Don Benson. Here. Jared Trumbo.
Here.
All present.
okay. All right, so our topic here is discussion and action on the recommendation for certificate of appropriateness for a sculpture on the Lake Shore Walking Trail. It's in tab 1 in your packet. So Jamie Ritter is here too, if you have any questions for her. So we have the Historic Preservation Commission, so we've included the minutes and memos from the designation process. So basically this body is convened as that. And this came to the Parks Committee and it made a recommendation for the appropriateness to this Historic Preservation Commission. And I think the main reason, I think you guys have also have a mock-up of it and on your packet. And we don't have something like this along our area. And we've been talking about getting some art and different sculptures in the city, and Parks Committee did feel like this is appropriate. And so I guess we'll start with a motion or discussion.
Who's the artist?
So Jamie, do you want to just come up and give a little summary on it?
You need a background on why there's a preservation commission?
Does anyone need that? It's in your,
Okay. That's why I provided that information.
yeah, thank you, Tony. I guess for the, wait one second, yeah, I guess for like the new members, probably this is a little weird, that's how we've organized it, so we didn't have a separate commission.
It's because city council approved the walking trail as a historic site. And because of such, any changes or amendments to the walking trail needs to come to the Preservation Commission, which within the city is also city council. But it's a separate commission than the council, which is why there's a second on your agenda.
We don't do this very often, so it's.
No.
No.
The last time was 2023.
Yeah, so every couple of years, we go into this mode, so.
And what you're approving is a certificate of appropriateness for the structure or the change to the walking.
So Jamie, if you just want to get an overview of like this, why you have this forward, and then also perhaps why you feel like it should go on the walking trail would be helpful.
Well, I did the initial design, so I did all the design elements with Matt Tetzner in mind, because he would be the artist for the the wind piece up top. The tower actually will come from the Ordock in Ashland. So it'll be cut down to create the tower. And originally it was on the top of the Ordock that strung lights, and so now it'll become our base. This year is the 50th anniversary of the sinking. And to my knowledge, there's nothing specific for it anywhere in Wisconsin on the South Shore. We do have local sailors. The Kalman family is still living in Washburn, and they've been approached and they've seen the memorial, and they are on board with that. So we had a Washburn family, a couple Ashland families, Mafwa, Iron River, and then Superior and Silver Bay. So we do have representation for the memorial. And, you know, I was asked why not put it in Ashland, and it's dock in Ashland, and you know what? We need it in here. We need more art. We need more places to draw people to our waterfront. And I thought this was both a beautiful and useful piece of art sculpture that people will acknowledge and be able to see on a daily basis. I like all the elements because it's all going to be made locally and fundraised locally, and I've gotten a lot of support from people I've shown it to.
Thank you. I will just offer that, you know, the walking trail is pretty sacred, right? People love that walking trail, and changes to it don't come lightly. I've spent some time down there. It is a structure that's 18 foot in height, so there's definitely some scenic byways, right? Like you look out right now and it's pretty unobstructed, but we definitely have some stuff in different places, but they're pretty low profile. So this is a little bit higher of a profile. I did meet with Jeff Mulberg, who does own 2 of the businesses in that area, Harbor Table and the hotel, Washburn Inn, just to get his thoughts of it. And you know, he agreed it was a beautiful structure. We talked about different placement of it because, you know, where you have that, you know, you want people to see it, but you also don't want to like put it in front where it's the sea versus the marina and the lake. And so we look at some different locations. One of them is when you first walk up the stairs on the walking trail, there's like a little cutout there, but kind of right before you get to the restaurant, there's some birch trees. You know, that's still gives it like over the marina, and you can see it from the road, but it's not like front and center when you drive up. There's also a location kind of down by the marina proper too. Like that's not exactly on the walking trail. It's really, I mean, I guess that's where the walking trail starts. It's down in the marina. So down kind of like in the lower portion. So there are a couple places. I don't think we have to approve the exact location because this is just the, right, Tony, this is just the appropriateness of that structure. But I do want you to know that there's lots of thought and discussion of where it would go so that, you know, we don't want to put it like in front of places where a business owner is like, oh, thanks for that, right? And so, but, you know, Jeff was excited about the structure and excited to work with us for an appropriate location. It is public land, so obviously the parks and this committee, the council can put it where they would like. It is public land, it's the city land. But we like to work in good faith with our neighbors. So I just want you to know that I did meet with him and have that discussion. So where you see it here, I guess, in the mock-up, might not be where it goes.
But it's gonna be 18 feet tall.
It is tall, right, Jamie? I mean, that's the mock-up is 18
In
feet
the wind
tall.
direction.
Yeah, the tower itself is 13 feet, so it's only got that narrow strip up until above eye level, and then the very tippy top of it is 18 feet.
So the sculpture in itself is beautiful in the sense that it's not like this big block that you see through it, right? And so it is something that you can still see through, but you know, those people who want like an unobstructed view of the bay and the marina, you know, like just being careful and being thoughtful of where we put it along the lake shores. We're not taking lightly, I guess. The Parks Committee had a discussion of different locations. I offered to go and talk to condo owners and different people in that area that, you know, live there. And like I said, Jeff was supportive. He would prefer for it not to be like right on his restaurant, like windows or like, you know, right when you, but I think we can find a location that will work for everyone. And I think like when I see that location, you're driving down the road, you can see it, you know, and So there's a couple different places we can put it. We would work with Jamie and Jeff and other interested parties of the location.
And this is actually a structure put forth by the Washburn Heritage Association. So I'm a board member with that, so we've been working as a group to get all the little pieces together to make it happen.
It's a cool project.
Any,
Do we need a motion?
we do need a motion of
I'll make a
the,
motion to approve the certificate of appropriateness.
Second.
motion by Dave.
I would just comment for discussion purposes, if anyone, it's on the orange tab in our packet, section E. It's pointing at, second to last page. Any of those factors, that you think need to be specifically discussed, there, 1 through 6, should be considered if necessary.
Okay, so we should vote on that.
Well, this is just for discussion. If there's no other, because now a motion's been made and seconded, so we're in the discussion area. If anyone wants to discuss any of those items, that's what I think now would be a time.
Okay, thank you.
And I don't specifically see any that need to be addressed, but just so everyone's aware.
I think those are good items to think of, you know, in terms of the historical purpose and use.
I think it meets all the criteria, and obviously you put a lot of thought into it.
Well, Jamie has, and we've talked about it, and like I said, the Parks Committee did recommend, and we had a healthy discussion on it there too.
Yeah, I think it's great.
We've been kind of looking for some art and sculpture, but that's also like very difficult sometimes, because everybody's art is not the same vision, right? So we've had some things that have come up that we've been like, this is one that I think, you know, using local materials and kind of a see-through and, you know, it fits over the marina. I think it like hit a lot of the marks that we've been looking for, so. Okay, we ready? So, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carries.
Thank you, Jamie.
Adjourn that meeting.
Okay? I adjourn.
Yes, so if you no further business, adjourn the historic preservation.
Historic
Commission.
Preservation Committee meeting, if you don't do any kind of a motion or vote on.
And then you would reconvene city council meeting.
Okay, I'm gonna reconvene the city council meeting of August 11th, 2025. Sorry about that. All right, we're moving on. We are now on tab 2, where we're gonna consider the MUSA agreement, municipal service agreement for the innovation planning grant, as in tab 2 of your packet. I guess, Randy, do you wanna?
Yeah, I thought the mayor would be here, but I'll just kind of go through it with you then from
Yeah, because
from
she's
my
pretty
understanding.
familiar with this one.
Yeah, exactly. So if you look on at the tab and just flip to the back side of the page 1 there, you'll see at the beginning paragraph, the city of Washburn, we're sponsoring this. Okay, so we've done this in a couple of other occasions recently. You know, been in the middle of something, an innovation grant for which, you know, we've been compensated for the work that we do in-house here. And then the second paragraph basically lays out what the definition, what's going to happen here is, you know, basically to work with the league to collectively, you know, talk with the parties, other municipalities, let's say, conduct a survey of the members and those folks, and issuing, preparing business and feasibility plans for the music agreement. The whole point, I think, would be to try and find ways that communities, and maybe specifically to our population, our smaller population or smaller entities, of which there are plenty. There's, I believe, probably corrected by counselor here, but I think there's 1,922 units of government in the state of Wisconsin, 72 being counties, and the rest being basically cities, towns, and villages. So 1,850 of them, at least in my last count recollection. So of those folks, especially with the smaller communities, you don't need to have a full-time accountant. You don't need to have a full-time whatever. You've got people playing 1, 2, or 3, or 4 different roles. And maybe there's a way to have a clearinghouse for that. Maybe the way that when we send our cable bills in, it goes to Carroll Stream, Illinois, you pay that, et cetera, et cetera. There can be a clearinghouse. That's my take on this, that there can be some type of cooperative agent or agency that we can use that is essentially formed by with the best interests of the local governments at hand. We acting as the agent However, you know, the league of Wisconsin municipalities being directly involved in this, you know, we can control the strings, if you will, for our own best interest as the villages and cities and towns in Wisconsin. So I think that's at the heart of it. It essentially then says the fees down here, we're gonna compensate the group for doing this, for which they've been in the middle of all these things. Zach Ruink, who is the former, I believe, mayor of Wisconsin Rapids, who is now in charge of the League of Cities of Wisconsin Municipalities under fees then. The total is 2 separate payments of $13,750 for $27,500 total. The city will get compensated, and then, of course, you have to pay the group that is doing this to actually do the work. And then we will, I guess, as a group, or especially through the league, with all their great professionalism there, they've got guys that are 2, 3, 4 decades into this type of work. They really, really understand what's going on at that level, looking out for the best interests of those 1,922 units of government. So that's it in a nutshell. I mean, I think looking for some cooperative ways to where communities can get together, use a clearinghouse to help us do things that otherwise would all cost us 10% of our jobs in 20 different directions.
Right,
So,
and we've had this as a topic
Oh.
council meeting, right, before this particular one?
I don't believe, not since
No?
I've been here, but that hasn't
Okay.
been too long, so maybe, you know, BNP before my time.
Okay,
But yeah, it certainly sounds to myself as a good way to do it. You know, why have one person doing 10% of their work when you could pay somebody for the greater good to do it at, or in the community when you electronically send your data to them, and they can clear that out for you and Bayfield and my hometown city, Wapaka, or whomever else, you know, for
Okay.
our municipal best interests. So, there you go. We'll essentially be being the financial side of it, you know, putting things together, and the league is gonna take care of the rougher part of the work, put it that way, for the agent.
And the cost of this is covered by the grant.
the grant.
Correct.
Correct, so there's no out-of-pocket
No.
expenses from the city. There is, I think, a in-kind approximately $7,000 value of administrative time that's estimated.
Yeah.
But no out-of-pocket expenses from the city.
All right. I have a motion.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jared,
Second.
second by Doug. Any more discussion or questions on this agreement? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. So we are on, now we're going to tab 3, which is the consideration for ordinance 25-003, amending the non-motorized vessels, Title 7, Chapter 11. So I think, and the background on this is the council approved the non-motorized vessel ordinance, on the commercial use of non-motorized vessel permit, because we started to have a business, begin a kayak outfitting at the Cold Rock Beach in 2020. And, the city needed an ordinance to regulate this type of commercial activity. So that's when that ordinance was first, put forth, and recently, this ordinance was used to revoke the business's permit because they continue to violate the ordinances and conditions of the use. We probably will get some more information on that from Tony. This summer, we had another business that was issued and is continuing to violate the ordinance and conditions of use. So after some discussions with our police chief and attorney, we're proposing some amendments that are in your packet to this ordinance, 25-003. So I guess, Tony or Matt,
I
you guys
can
have
speak on this
some-
one. So, two people were on council. When this ordinance was initially adopted, it's to regulate commercial use of city property by non-motorized vessels, operators, most commonly kayak tours. And it's not to prevent or restrict that use, it's just to provide a little more orderly operations on city property when using the shoreline to launch these tours. Initially, we created this because there were some issues interfering with the public use of public property. The way that the ordinance was drafted was, we went back and forth quite a bit on it. And this proposed change doesn't necessarily change the scope of that ordinance at all. Doesn't change really much of that ordinance, except to provide additional flexibility for enforcing the terms and any potential violations of the ordinance. And because initially as drafted, we had put it as that any enforcement, so far, I believe the only enforcement that we've done is there was a procedure and a proceeding to revoke one of these permits that was issued. And that procedure and proceeding to revoke a permit could be done based on violations of the ordinance, which has some general terms, or violations of specific conditions in the permit that's issued. The procedure to revoke a license is very time intensive and also pretty burdensome to the permit holder themselves. If they get revoked, that's obviously a loss of their use of that property. So in discussions with police department and city staff on this, another enforcement opportunity and option here to get compliance with the permit terms is by issuing citations. Those are just, it's like a parking ticket, a monetary penalty for violating an ordinance, with hope that that then encourages compliance with the terms of the permits or the terms of the ordinances. As the ordinance is written, when we initially adopted it, not thinking of this issue, it only authorized issuance of citations for violating the actual ordinance language and not the language of the conditions in the permit. So this amendment is authorizing the issuance of citations for violating permit conditions. So that if some permit holders violate those, the only remedy isn't just to revoke. It allows this lesser, I would say a lesser intrusive remedy of issuing citations, hoping to then encourage compliance with conditions of that permit. And then it further goes to say, essentially expands to say anything that in the original version of this ordinance could be done for violating a actual condition of the ordinance, the term of the ordinance, can also be used as enforcement for violating conditions that are included in that permit. So that's the basic, the reason for this.
So right now, if, for the changes, we could only revoke a permit if they violated the provisions.
Not necessarily, so this section 711.9, well, yes, yeah, there are further sections, that's why there's ellipses at the end, that do discuss other permit violations or violations of conditions of a permit. But this is just to make it explicitly clear that for revocation, you can also do it for violating a condition of a permit. So the revocation section, I would say, did allow us to revoke based on permit condition violations.
Okay.
But it specifically would not have allowed to issue a citation for violating permit conditions. The citation avenue was only for violating provisions or limitations in the actual ordinance. Limitations in the actual ordinance are essentially that you can't have more than 8 boats unattended on city property, that you can't interfere with others' use of the public property, that you can't encumber more than 30 feet of the public shoreline while unless actively launching and retrieving boats. And I think those are the 3 main actual conditions or limitations in the ordinance that would have allowed issuance of citations. So for other, depending on where the permit is issued for, city staff in consultation with the police department include other conditions of that permit, like parking restrictions to not interfere with other general parking. Often because there have been complaints, our conditions of the permits include restroom use for the campground restrooms or the marina restrooms, and not allowing, this doesn't grant the use of those other facilities to the permit holders or their customers. Things like that are just conditions of the permit that are based on general concerns for public health, but are more specific to the individual permit and not citywide conditions. That is, and then to answer question raised in public comment, applications that are submitted, so this ordinance would not take effect, even if you pass it tonight, it does not take effect until it is published in the daily press. So when an application is submitted, it's a vested right in the ordinance as it was at the time that application was submitted. So these standards, if an application was submitted today, tomorrow, these standards would not apply until this ordinance change is passed and then published in the daily press.
So if the public commenter tried to put their application in on Friday, and I'm not sure if it was like actually taken in, if they told her to come back on Monday.
Well, if it's in today, this isn't, even if you pass it tonight, this ordinance is not effective until it's published.
So there would
Probably not, maybe Tom can say, but probably not till Saturday, potentially, would it get published.
okay, so the public commenter does have a chance to.
Yes, if the application was submitted today, it's based on the existing standards.
Thank you for clearing that up.
Mhm.
I guess, Tony, do you have anything else to add on this? I know that you've been involved in it.
I don't think so. I think Max explained what the changes are, and the purpose that this is coming for us is because we've had violations with our conditions of use, which caused the city to then come forward and to make changes to our amendment.
Okay. All right, have any questions, a motion to move forward?
How many permits do we have out there right now?
2.
I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance.
I'll second.
Motion by Jerry. Second by Daniela. Any other discussion or questions? I do have a question on like some of the conditions. Do we have like in the permit, are they pretty standard conditions?
Yes.
Like in terms of, like parking overnight and things like that of, vehicles down
The conditions are like, equipment kayaks can be on the beach a half hour before and a half hour after the trip. Otherwise, they need to be removed. Any vehicles or trailers need to be off of the beachfront areas, and I've identified in the conditions where they can park those vehicles.
Okay.
As far as people taking the trips, I mean, there's no specific identification for them to park. They're parked where the beachhead is, and when the trip's done, they're gone. So,
yeah, the only reason I asked, I just had some questions on parking. And so, in that little section of green land, that where the trail comes through, across from where the county little triangle thing is, there's been a white van there, like overnight, quite a bit, and I've gotten some questions on that. So maybe I can just come and talk to you about it. But I just wondered if that was part of the conditions of like parking overnight vehicles.
No.
Okay. All right, any other discussion or questions? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes. Thanks for all the information. All right. Consider, we're moving on to tab 4, consider park signage recommendations and park designated fund expenditure. So one of the things that we've been talking about quite a bit is, and working with Jerry on, also, he's not very happy that a lot of our signs have been, actually we yanked a couple of them because they were in such bad shape. A lot of our, it's pretty nice park design with wood, all of our parks and a lot of our public spaces just need to be updated. That's what it comes down to. We've been trying to get that, that unified look in our community. And so we jumped on what the ad hoc committee had done for the Community to Town Parks sign, the City of Washburn sign that Matt Tessner did, and everybody seemed to like that. And we had Jamie put together a couple more mock-ups. And so, we've been talking quite a bit about the Parks Designated Fund and utilization of that. And so this is the first time in a while that the committee recommended actually using some money out of that fund. Because we've been trying to get organized with all of our stuff and how much we're gonna spend each year out of there. Because that fund does grow. We get $5 about every campsite. And so we were talking about keeping a chunk of money in there and then starting to use that for different improvements in the park, like pavilions and different things. Working with Jerry on like some of his priority projects, the artesian well. We have some ones coming up, but we're really not ready to like spend $40,000 a year out of that right now. But this right here is something that we thought just want to move forward on. We really want to get these, just because a lot of the signs have been taken down. So there was some discussion of using the same sign that was out there. It was wooden. Person that makes those signs doesn't make them anymore, right, Jerry? So it wasn't like we could just go and replace one and kind of just replace them. So yeah, so this is the proposal is approximate cost. The metal will also, last longer. The Parks Committee favored option 4, and actually so did the ad hoc downtown committee that I went to them and showed this to them also. About $1,500 per sign. Jamie's fee is always very low as usual, $500 for the cost of the design. And so we were talking about just doing it in a couple phases. So, yeah, we're seeking approval for the Parks Committee recommendation for signage and expenditure.
Question,
Yes.
real quick, has somebody worked with Matt on optimizing sign size to save a little money maybe? I mean, that seems like an odd, just with plate steel and I was just curious, if you cut it by 3 inches one direction or whatever, you're,
I think
Rather
it's,
than
I mean, we
purchasing
could definitely
two
look
sheets
at
of
that.
steel.
We kind of just went with like the visual of like when you drive down and what you can see, and going any smaller. And so you see like number 4. I mean, if you were to shrink the sign, you're gonna shrink the letter. So I think, we could definitely talk to Jamie about that. She left. Where'd she go? She left. She left. Jamie left.
Is that the current size of the signs now?
Yeah.
So we're just modeling after what we already have.
We're modeling what we already had. And so,
I mean, just working with wood and working with steel, sometimes, it can save a ton of money if you cut an inch off of, to make it fit. You might get 2 signs out of a sheet rather than one.
well, so the way that this is designed, he gets the 2. So
Okay.
it's designed to get that out of the sheet. Because we were talking about, remember, we were talking about cutting it down and doing something, and we're like, well, you got a sheet, so you should just do the 6.
Okay.
So it is maximized for
I love the ideas.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is maximized for the sheet that he uses.
Okay.
Looks like you need 14 though.
Total.
13. So you gotta come up with a
We gotta come
14.
up with a 14. So we kind of went back and forth we did an inventory, and then we went back and we, went in which ones were like most visible right now. There's a lot of discussion on budget and dollars and all that stuff that we just didn't know, so we didn't want to that's why we split it into 2 cases. Plus we've got,
The 14th could be the Fitzgerald Monument.
I'm just gonna go ahead with it.
any other questions?
That design cost is just a one-time thing that's going there. Oh,
Yep, that's what
Very
Jamie does,
reasonable.
and
Yeah.
she's
It's cool. I like
She's
it.
extremely, Jamie's always very, and I didn't know this when we were talking about different things, but she's the one who also designed the sign coming into town. So I'm just talking to her, she's like, oh, I designed that sign. I was like, really? I'm like, well, can you give us some design? So she's very reasonable. I guess, Jerry, you got anything on this topic? I know it's near and dear to your heart.
The only thing I have on it, they were talking about the parks designated fund. I had this comment in the parks meeting. I believe that the individual buildings, like the wastewater plant, public works building, the cemetery, should be covering the costs for their signs. So let the parks spend the designated money on their park signs, if you want to do it 2 phases. And we can utilize, areas outside the park, we can utilize that budget to pay for those signs. So some of those that are down like the cemetery, we can get those replaced.
Yeah.
Would you anticipate any of those different places having an issue with it?
Not present one.
Oh, yeah, we had one of our parks members on Avery went around and took all the pictures and did the inventory, so we knew exactly which ones we were gonna do. And we did find out there is 2 signs at the cemetery. One is ours and one is not ours. So there'll only be 1 sign replaced at the cemetery. The other one's church.
Yes.
So we won't be touching that. Also, there's a couple signs, like, you know, at the Washburn Library, that's like a different type of sign that has like a word that you can change on there. Like, we're not gonna change that kind of stuff. We'll have some discussion on the Whitdale Park sign, that's quite big and different. You know, we're not looking at changing anything major, we're just gonna replace the ones that are there. So. Yeah, more than you've ever wanted to know about the signs. But this is just one step forward to how we're trying to build up what our downtown is starting to look like, with the flower planters and the benches starting to move. The benches will eventually hopefully be the same in most of our parks, at least the ones adjacent to downtown. The garbage receptacles, same thing, right? And so that we have some continuity and a little bit more of a branding and a theme throughout our community.
Did anybody make a motion yet?
No.
I'll make a motion to approve recommendations, recommendation sign number 4.
And use of.
And use of parks designated funds. Instead of for the parks.
Instead of each individual, just for parks.
Park signage. Is that right?
So I clarify, the motion is to approve number 4 and utilization of the parks designated fund for the parks, and then the individual departments can pay for those.
Yes, we can add that on there, yeah.
That was second.
Thanks.
Second. Any other discussion or questions?
They look great. It's gonna be nice.
Boy, it'd be nice to get something done, so thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
Approve, or? It's approved. All right. So, thank you. Tab 5.
Jerry time.
What?
Jerry time.
Oh, great, time, perfect. Consider vehicle sale to the town of Bayview. We have a Sterling dump truck, year 2000, from the Department of Public Works, and Jerry is gonna give us an overview.
Okay, yeah, so some might all remember that old orange dump truck that sat down by the city garage. That was slotted for disposal a while back ago. We just never really moved it. And what became of this, actually, we're not selling it, we're giving it away. So what happened was, if you notice, for years, we've been using the town of Washburn's water trailer. The water roads, we put calcium down. Well, that trailer finally met its maker last year. And we had that orange truck, and we were gonna dispose of it. And talking to Mike Yonan in the town of Washburn, he's like, what are you gonna do with that? Well, literally, it wasn't even safe to go down the road. And he's like, well, my trailer's junk. Is there any chance, you know, could I get the truck, put the water trailer on it, or put the water tank on it, we could share it? Like, hey, you wanna have at it? We had a discussion on it, and it was like, yeah, but it was never formally like, hey, we're gonna give this to the town of Washburn. They're gonna put their water rig on it, if he could make it work, which he did. And if you notice this spring, we actually had it here, we were using it. And so we basically gave the truck to town of Washburn. Mike went through it, did all the mechanical work, switched it all over, and it worked. So It was never really, as you'll see in tab 6.2, we never really had a formal conversation on the disposal of equipment, more so at the time of purchasing. Some of you that were here might remember when we did the budget last year, we talked about buying that new dump truck we got. And one of the comments was, are we finally gonna get rid of that orange one? So anyway, so what we did is Mike took it, he was able to get it fixed, restored, got the water tank on it. And now we just, because there's really no clarity on that, we get permission to turn that over to the town of Washburn.
Just so that I'm clear, that, the agenda says town of Bayview, but you're talking about.
Oh, town of Bayview, I'm sorry, town of Bayview. I deal with too many townships.
Okay, I just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's the town of Bayview.
The town of
We gave it
Bayview.
over to, yeah, we gave it to the town of Bayview. They did have a meeting on it last month, they approved accepting it, so, with the understanding that we share that truck. We took care of their stuff, I guess, for years with their water trailer stuff, and now they've taken that over, so they'll license it and they'll take care of the DOT inspection and the maintenance on it, and, that cost will be borne on them.
The only question that I have is sometimes with handshake deals, but when you do these kind of things, do you ever have any, you don't need a formal agreement, you just are like, okay, you can have this, and we're gonna help us, kind of.
Well, you know, I mean, there's
just
something we're
asking.
talking about, I mean, I said the same thing, do we get a written agreement? It's been working for years. I don't know.
I'm fine, I'm just asking the question, right, because we've been kind of trying to get some of that stuff in order with our, like, you know, down at the baseball field and
Mhm.
like all that kind of stuff where we have those like handshake kind of understanding to get it a little bit more formalized. I'm not saying we need to do it here, I guess I'm just asking the question and looking to Max.
Yeah, so I would say if there's something of significant value that we want to and need to continue to rely on, it's best to get a written agreement, intergovernmental agreement with that. If it's more of a matter of convenience, that it's nice to use it when they let us, but if they stop letting us use it, we're totally fine and can make do without it. I would say that's okay to do as well.
Okay, I'm just asking.
So that's up to
I
you.
mean,
I'm fine
we
with either way, I
literally,
just
we
wanted to-
literally, now that we've redone, now that Holman is paved, we literally use it for a day and a half once a year.
Not like we rely on it.
You know,
Okay, that's good, I just wanted us to have a conversation.
And it sounds like for this, the bigger issue is by approving this, it's eliminating the maintenance and holding costs of having this vehicle.
Yes. And it worked out well. I mean, we didn't want to stick any money into it. We were gonna get rid of it. There really wasn't no value to it. And by giving it to them, they were willing to stick a little money into it. We had no use for it. It worked out. You know, Mike had a bigger vision. I was like, yeah, have at it, good luck. And, I'll be honest with you, he did great. I mean, the thing is, works great. We got it all set up hydraulically now. What used to take us a couple days to do, like I say, literally a day and a half, and we're done. So, it just worked out really well.
The city and the fire department has given equipment to other townships, to Red Cliff, with no cost, just because it was equipment that was expiring, we couldn't use anymore, we replaced it, so we just gave it to another municipality.
And I
It
think,
works out well,
But council did approve that.
yes.
and that makes sense, I was just wondering if we were gonna use it if we wanted to.
Yeah.
Get a little formality to our use, but it sounds like that's not needed, so thanks for answering the question. Thanks, Max.
I'll make a motion to approve the relinquishment of our truck to the town of Bayview. Second.
And just for one further question, I'd say, Jerry, I think you alluded to this, but confirming that the fair market value of this vehicle is $500 or less.
We were literally gonna just take it to the boneyard, to the scrap yard. Because, technically, if we would have tried to sell it to somebody, and being a commercial vehicle and something would happen, the liability factor there is just too great. We literally drove it to their out to their side, because we wouldn't let them drive it there. Once they got in the yard, it's like, okay, here you go. So, but again, they spent most of the winter working on it and getting it fixed up, so, I don't know what they spent on it, but, hey, more power to them.
That's right, and then just for everyone, so everyone knows, the reason I ask that is if the value's 500 or less, it's deemed to be, and they don't have a need for it, deemed to be surplus city property, and then it's a lot easier procedure just to approve its donation or its gift to a different municipality.
Okay, any other questions for Jerry? All right, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? All right, Jerry, you stand here, it seems like they know what's coming. So we have we're moving on. Tab 6, consider vehicle and equipment disposal sales, 7 items from Department of Public Works. Yeah, looks like you have some more, so go ahead.
Yeah, so again, most of this is all, so over the course of the last year and a half, we've replaced 3 pickups. We had the old Impala Squad, that was my vehicle. Since then, we've got that new for us, the old Explorer, which I love, which I did years ago, to replace that. The only 2 things on here that weren't replaced, the New Holland Dismore, that was replaced 3 years ago. It's a parts thing only, but we want to get rid of it. We're tired of looking at it. We can't use it. And then, if you remember right, so the Navstar boom truck, that's our boom truck that we usually use for the flags and stuff. So we had our state inspection this year, came in, did our audit. That truck, not had a boom inspection done on it in quite a few years. It has not been DOT certified. And the state inspector looked at it and it was like, don't use it no more. Don't drive it on the road, don't. So we've literally parked it, haven't moved it. Honestly, we spend roughly about $2,000 a year in lift rentals for banners and flags and miscellaneous things to try. I don't even think that you could, the cost to fix that truck, the city would be better off to just go out and buy its own little portable lift. That's easier to certifiable because it's, you can see the age on it. It's just time for it to go. So what it is, and again, we'll go back, when we were replacing all these vehicles, it's like, what do you do to them? I'm going to list it or advertise and get rid of it. It was never clearly, we went back into the minutes, it was never clearly defined, this vehicle, that vehicle, and this vehicle. So just for clarity reasons, talking to Randy, I said, moving forward, whenever we're replacing something and we're selling it, we should make sure that it's kind of listed in this, in the minutes. So there's clarity, there's no question to what vehicle we're disposing and how we're disposing of it. So
this is a cleanup exercise.
this is a cleanup. This is a cleanup and getting it in the minutes
Okay, thank
for
you.
permission.
And the motion would be to declare these items surplus city property and authorize their sale on the Wisconsin State surplus site.
Yes.
So moved.
Any other questions or discussion on this topic? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jerry.
Still not going more.
One more, Jerry. All right, we're moving on. We got tab 7, bid award to replace the cold storage garage building. And we've had this on the agenda for council, I think, last month, talking about it. And we had some prices and stuff, so I'm assuming this is a wrapped up package. So go ahead, Jerry.
Yep, so anyway, so we put it out for bid. We listed it online and in the newspaper, and we only received 1 bid. Rucola presented us with a bid. The bid is $82,614. that building is gonna be paid for via the insurance from the building that came down. And at present, Randy has some information in the back for you, if you wanna review it, but with the insurance payment, actually with the building being installed and some of the costs, there'll actually be a little bit of a surplus of funds. We'll see once it's all completed, there's nothing changes, and what we're talking about, I believe there's about 4,000 or 5,000 left. We would use that for electrical, for installing lights into the building, so.
Have you received any information, probably not from the county, in terms of, after you guys, we did the takedown and clear out and all that stuff and spread some material around, and then they came in on Friday or Thursday?
Yeah, so we actually had a little more, so the county, we had the county come in because the site was so dirty. We had the county come in and gave us a hand, cleaning the site up. So that'll be invoiced towards the insurance check. They'll pay for the new building. Again, I can't, what was the building was 82 or 86? 82,600.
8,614.
Yep, and I believe we're still sitting at, what did we have?
You had 91,353 with a residual there, 87.39 and 47 cents. And that's an email that shows with Tony's name on the top here, and then the map is right here, this middle page. I tell you the page, but.
Yeah, so the county, we probably spent about 2,500 of that with the county cleaning up the site. I'm sure some of you, if you haven't noticed, we're up there working behind the fire department up there, getting the site ready for the new building we put up. And it's got a pretty tight, in the bid, it had a pretty tight completion date of September 28th, and we're told, assured us that they will make that deadline for the insurance payment.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to award the bid to Ratola. Accept this bid. Second.
Who seconded that?
Was it you?
Any discussion or question on this?
Something with this, because this accident occurred back in 2023, we're near the end of when it needs to be done. It will need to be built by,
Yeah, you just said that, September.
By the end of September.
So then we want to report that info as soon as we get it.
Yeah,
Bill,
so
is
we're
this,
told to give them
shove it
the call tomorrow for the go-ahead that they can commence work on
now.
the fall.
Commence completion.
Or they can start on the 12th and it has to be completed by September 28th.
Start whenever they want. It
Yeah.
has to be done.
And he said roughly this size, the building we're putting in, roughly a week and a half will be done. Pretty simple structure.
And if it rains 12 inches like it did in Milwaukee, right? But you dug the swale behind it, so that looks very nice, by the way.
Any other questions, discussion? All right, all those in favor?
All right.
Opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Jerry. Okay. Our last tab is the library report for July. And,
A little bit, and he likes that the birds are still hot, so I'm fine with that.
That's the takeaway.
yeah, homecoming's come and gone, side door be placed, today.
So the side door is kind of the big deal on this one.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, you're on the, go ahead. Yeah.
There's not a whole lot to it, it's just, I'm glad to see it getting replaced. The roof leak kind of stinks, but we'll see what's actually causing it, splashing around the chimney, but that's the pros tell us that.
Is that I don't want to say a perennial problem, but I've talked with him, and it's been a more than
More than one time.
infrequent occurrence, so.
It's a stone chimney that penetrates the roof, it's gotta be an issue.
Gotcha. All
We can
right.
do a little bit about it.
Okay.
So we should.
All right.
Motion to accept the.
Don't need a motion on that. No, not an action item.
Okay. Then the other thing that just to call your attention, that we do have a memo, right, that was in the packet regarding, some budget preparation tactics.
Yep.
And then, that's all we have, in our next, is going to close session. So I will.
Make a motion to go on closed session.
I'll second.
And to clarify for the record, that's for reasons stated in the agenda. For the first closed session item, I would request that motion also include that the city administrator and assistant city administrator be allowed to remain.
Yeah, city attorney.
Yes, and city attorney. Specifically for conferring with the city attorney. So that's required there.
I get it.
Motion is amended, with Max's suggestions.
Second that.
Second by Jared. All those in favor?
Roll call.
Roll call.
Jared Trumbo,
Yes.
Don Benson,
Yes.
Dave Anderson,
Yes.
Doug Emmett,
Yes.
or Emmett, sorry. Jen Mazias,
Yes.
Eric Sarai,
Yes.
Darren Miller.
Yes.
Okay, we are going into closed session at 6:45. Before discussion, let's make sure everything gets shut off.
Okay, and I know Mary was on her way down. She's back.
Recording stopped.
And who is Victor on the,
Take Victor off. Whoever it is.
Victor, we will need you to
Sorry, Victor.
leave the meeting.
Ciao.
Is the YouTube off?
No. If somebody wants to grab Randy and grab some water, and we'll go into closed session.
Ready. Not you.
On stream, maybe that's it.
Yeah, let's do that.